Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today I am going to help you guys stop lying to yourselves. Now, there's no way I could stop you completely from lying to ourselves because we all do it, and we all do it many, many, many times a day. In fact, did you know all of us lie to other people every day? So we're all essentially liars. It's part of human nature, and we just have to accept it, right? And most of the lies, unless, of course you're a sociopath, or you're just an absolute liar or a scam or something like that, we tell little white lies to other people, right? Like we make up a story of why we can't attend something, why we can't stay, why we must leave, why we have to leave work early, why we can't see a client on that day. We may even, lie to our spouse. You guys, I'm sure, lie to your kids, but those are harmless lies. And sometimes lies aren't such a bad thing. They're a form of self-protection. I call it discretion over disclosure. To be an honest person, we don't have to tell everyone everything and be super blunt, honest about everything. And I know you're laughing because you're like, this is coming from you. You're probably the most blunt person I know. But even so, I had to work on that because, I went from being an extreme people pleaser, which a lot of you aren't going to like when I say this because I didn't like it when I heard it. But a people pleaser is a liar and is a manipulator, but might not be aware of that they're doing it, like consciously doing it. So I was so afraid to tell people no, that I would come up with elaborate lies of why I couldn't, or I would accept invitations to places and then I really didn't want to go. So then I'd make up that I was like sick or something like that. That's what I mean by it's manipulative, it's people pleasing. It's not, that's not right. That's not coming from a good place. But, being in recovery for codependency, people pleasing, all that stuff, I then flipped to the other end of swung to the other end of the pendulum, which is very common when we stop a behavior that is no longer serving us, that we know isn't healthy, whether it's a habit, whether it's something, we do, say, think, feel, whatever, ingest, like alcohol, drugs, something like that. We can swing to the other end where we end up in these absolutes like black and white thinking. This is very common for people who were raised in abusive environments or ended up getting into abusive relationships, that we go vacillate back and forth. It's like all or nothing thinking, black or white thinking. So I thought in order for me to be an honest person, because I was horrified when I was told that I was a liar by being a people pleaser. And once I completely understood that, I was horrified because it's the last thing I wanted to be like. I've always prided myself on being high integrity. So then when people would ask me questions, and I was, single at the time, So when I would be asked questions from guys, from strangers, I would give an honest answer. And I would disclose things that I wasn't really comfortable disclosing, but I kind of thought I had to in order to be honest. And thankfully, I have a great mentor who taught me the difference between, discretion and full disclosure. So there is healthy lying, right? There's certain things that aren't appropriate to tell your children. There are certain things you want to surprise your kids or your friends or your significant other with. There are certain things that, and certain people that are on a need to know basis, and they don't need to know. And therefore, it is better for you and your safety and your overall well-being to make up a white lie to give them a different story. Okay? It just is. So I wanted to start all this out by saying that. However, the lies that I do want you to stop telling yourselves are the ones that are actually sabotaging the very things you want, the goals you want to reach in life, personal, professional, financial, health-wise, the goals that are truly sabotaging your joy, your happiness, your financial well-being, all those things. That's what we're going to stop today, because those lies are not serving you. They're not necessary. And in fact, they're harming you. It's a form of self-abuse, and it's harming anyone who depends on you financially, or anyone who could benefit from you, being financially sound and being happy. Your kids, your family, your friends, the people who you want to serve with using your gifts. All those people benefit off you being the best version of you. And these lies that you tell yourselves are not serving that. They're blocking you from doing what you are intended to do. The work you are put here on this earth to do are being blocked by something that you can actually change. So that's the great news. First, you have to kind of be humble, right? And listen to this and go, okay, I'm willing to take a look at this, Tiff. Thank you for sharing your story and you're being honest about it yourself. I'm willing to take a look at this. I'm willing to admit where I do lie to myself, and I'm willing to experiment with a different way. You don't have to do this. You could say, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to stop this lie. You could even come up and build a whole case for why it's not a lie when you're challenging your beliefs. Our egos are very cunning, baffling, and strong. They can come up with crazy stuff, especially stories we've clung on to for decades, because we're telling those stories to ourselves because they're serving us in some way. We do not do anything repeatedly, whether it's a story we tell ourselves, a belief system, a habit, a behavior, whatever it is. We do not do anything repeatedly, even the shit that we know isn't healthy, we know isn't good, that we even know is hurting other people. We do not do anything repeatedly that doesn't give us a payoff of some sort. Period. End of story. So you know that you emotionally eat food. And maybe you'll feel good and you'll be on a great track and eating really healthy. And you have this cycle of then, eating Ben & Jerry's and pizza and feeling like crap. I'm sharing that because I used to be in a major cycle like that. Once in a while, I fall into that, but it's much more rare now. But that used to be a very constant cycle of mine. I would get to a point where I felt really good about my body. I felt healthy, and then I would do something to sabotage it. And even though I was conscious of it, I still did it. So why would I do something that I knew was harmful and not healthy to myself, and I didn't like how I felt after, or the day after, the next 2 days after? Why would I keep doing it? Why would I keep doing it over and over and over again? Because there is a perceived payoff. And for me, the payoff was in that moment. It was that ingesting all of that sugar. It was like a form of numbing and self-soothing with food. And it was instant gratification. I didn't care. I wanted that feeling so badly, and to numb with it and dissociate with it, that I did it anyway. So that's not any different than, an alcoholic reaching for a drink when they know that they shouldn't. That's not any different than someone who's, picking up another cigarette when they know that they shouldn't. Or gambling, or, over, shopping, or whatever your thing is, or picking up picking up the phone or replying to a text from somebody who is toxic and you know you shouldn't be talking to them, but you do it anyway because you're getting an instant gratification charge off it. So I just want to give you that example of we do not do anything repeatedly, even the stuff we know is bad for us, subconscious stuff, conscious stuff that other people have told us that, they've pointed it out to us that it's not good or hurts their feelings. We keep doing it is because we're getting something out of it. So you have to look at what it is you're getting out of it and be humble and acknowledge that with yourself when we go through this. So I look at 3 main types of lies that are absolutely preventing you from reaching your highest potential, from great success. I see it over and over again. Keep in mind, I have coached over 1,500 people personally, meaning one-on-one, and thousands of people in various group settings. And so when what I'm sharing is people in the medical world would say, like, my own clinical research with a wide body of people. This is what it boils down to. So these are the 3 main ones. Of course, there's other lies too, but for the sake of time and efficiency, let's focus on 3. Plus, those of you longtime listeners, what do I have that I always talk about? My rule of 3s. Because anything really more than that, most people can't retain and they check out. So let's stick with it. All right. The first one is the need to have lie. How many of you have told yourself a version of the lie of, in order for me to really be happy with my life and feel really good, like I'm at a great place in my life, I need to have a husband. I need to have my second child. I need to have my pre-baby body back. I need to be able to be making X amount of money. I need to have a different job. I need to have my own company. I need to be following my dreams. In order for me to do what I want to do and start the business I want to start, I need to I need to get a degree. I need a credential. I need more training. I need to know more. I need to do more research. In order for me to really, really make it and have wild success, I need to have a team. I need to be thinner. I need to be smarter. I need more information. I need to learn how to have graphics. I need to have a special computer. I need to have professional photos taken. I could go on and on and on of all the ones I've heard and the ones that have come in my own head. Let me remind you as I'm staring at it, I have the top of the line iMac. Those are with tax close to $6,000. I am staring at it. I've used it probably 3 times. I convinced myself before I started ProjectME with Tiffany Carter about 1.5 years ago that in order for me to be this, amazing influence on Instagram, have a top podcast, help coach many people online through, to be successful and start or grow their businesses, I needed to have this like special blow it out your ass computer. And I've used it 3 times. You want to know what computer I'm even using right now to record this very episode? It's a 2014 Mac. I think they're called PowerBooks. It's not like the Air, but it's a it's a MacBook. Sorry, PowerBook is something else. It's a MacBook from 2014. Now, when I did get it, it was fully loaded. So, that's also a fun hack, by the way. If you are going to buy technology, buy something that's fully loaded because it lasts a lot longer. That's what I'm recording on. Thank you. So there you go. This is what I use to create my business. I do 90% of it, no joke, from my phone and 10% from this laptop from 2014. But it's a lie I told myself. And so I went out and spent this money buying this iMac, and now I use it for humor and because it looks really glamorous and pretty on my desk. And if anyone wants to buy it, let me know because I am more than willing to sell it. It is not necessary and it's not used. And it's been well taken care of because, #Virgo life. So these are the lies we tell ourselves. And I know they pop into your head probably right away, some of the main ones you tell yourself. But I want you to start keeping track, because you're going to hear yourself think or even say these. I need to have, in order for me to have this, I need this. Oh, I need that. Yeah, before I can start blank, I need that. So I just want you to keep track, whether it's in the notes app of your phone, in your journal. You're going to have to write them down right away. It's funny. When all the lies we tell ourselves, our ego has a fun way of having us forget that we tell ourselves that lie. And it's not serving you, because the reality is that 99% of the shit you're telling yourself you need to have in order to have the desired thing or feeling that you want is shit. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Yes, if you want to be a doctor, yes, you do need to go to schooling. You do have to take tests. You do have to take that. That's why I'm not saying 100% of the time. You want to be a nutritionist? Yes, you do have to have certifications and certain schooling, right? But you don't have to have any of that to start a business. My stepfather, who passed away in October of last year, very, very successful man, and he barely graduated high school, but incredibly well-spoken, well-respected, very, very successful. He sold early on back in the day. He's a lot older than my mom, but he sold early on back in the day, like typewriters. And then he went into sales in like the meat industry. And then he played the stock market daily. So he didn't need any sort of special degree to learn how to do those things. He used his skills of a gift for gab, as he would always say, and chatting with people. And it didn't matter. He could sell anything because he just liked talking and shooting the shit with people and building relationships with people. I mean, I never saw this man type a document in his life, ever. In fact, I don't even think I've ever seen him hold a cell phone. Number one, he didn't have to. He had people to do everything for him. Really smart in that way. And so he granted, he sold a crap ton of typewriters, and he sold a crap ton of meat products in the restaurant industry, neither of which he had a background in. So there's so many lies that we're telling ourselves that we need to have. I used to tell a lot of lies to myself of I'll be happy when, or in order for me to be happy, or I know I'll be like super content with my life, or I'll feel complete in my life when I have a husband, or some shit like that I told myself. Or when my company reaches a certain point, or I used to say when I have a certain amount in the bank. All fucking lies. Lies, lies, lies. We are complete and we are whole as is. And when you're resourceful enough and you take away the belief and this lie you're telling yourself that you need to have this thing or these people or whatever it is in order for you to have what you want to have, it's not true. Let's just go down the path for ego's sake, that you want to be something that truly does require a certification. And I'll just use a nutritionist for an example, or a dietitian, something like that. And you want to do that and you're like, this is really what my passion is, but I don't have, when I have the money to be able to pay for that schooling, I can go do that, but I can't do anything about it before then. And so I'm kind of stuck. I have to wait and I have to stay in the shitty job until I have it, blah, blah, blah. That's also a fucking lie. Now, the truth is, yes, you do need to have certain credentials and certifications to call yourself that, but you don't need one damn certification, degree, or credential to start building your online community and your brand. You're not going to claim you're a dietitian, of course. That's not right. You're not going to claim you're a nutritionist, but you can certainly start building your brand and your community without having those things. And you can just share your favorite tips, habits, recipes, all of those things. And then your audience goes along for the ride with you. And you can tell them how excited you are and you're starting nutrition school and, starting to go to become a nutritionist, and they can follow the whole ride with you. And now when you have that credential, that's only going to add to your business, but it's a lie you're telling yourself that you can't start without it. It's an absolute freaking lie. Same if you're a fitness professional and I need to have these credentials to train and I need to know exercise physiology. That's also not fucking true. To safely train people and to claim to be certain things, yes, but you can still start. You can build your online community, and all you are doing is you are sharing your best exercises, your moves, you're providing the videos, you're providing the tips. You're not making a claim you're something you're not. You're building your community, and you can freaking charge for it. And if you want to go and get your credential, then you take your audience along the ride with you. And there you go. It doesn't make it so you're not credible. Some of the most successful people I know online have zero freaking credentials, period. Maybe they have a college degree, but it's in something like useless. No offense, you guys, but like, why in the hell? Why did anyone unless you're going to be a professor, why did you do a philosophy degree or like art history unless you're going to be an art dealer? Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, what was that about? It's because you really didn't want to go to school and that was the only thing that interests you. I mean, I don't know. I'm blown away by that. Or the people who have like studied psychology but never went on to do anything in that field. It fascinates me. Anyway, let's go on to the second lie. I call this the I don't have time lie. So it's the time lie. This is very, very common. And this is actually one of the harder lies for people to break, because in this busy society and busy life, especially for women, we just, in my opinion, truly, we just have so much more that we have to squeeze in than most men, right? It's just the society pressure of how we need to look. So there's more pressure on that. And that takes a lot of time. I mean, just come with me to a hair appointment. For Lord have mercy. I have no idea. Why am I at the hair salon for 3.5 hours? I really have no idea. And it's not like they're leaving me sitting there waiting, doing nothing. I'm really there that long. That's insane. Every 2 weeks, got to get these brows managed. I mean, have you seen them? So I get those threaded. The stuff we do to take care of our skin, the manicures, the pedicures, the exercise. And on top of that, for those of you who have human children, you have all that to do. Then most women are in charge of grocery store stuff. I don't know how it's happened, but we're in charge of it. I mean, sending Mike to the store is a crapshoot. We do not know what he'll come back with, but I can tell you 90% of it is nothing I need and nothing we'll use. And it's like, why didn't you get this that I told you I needed? Oh, I forgot, but you have a list. I forgot the list. So we have the food stuff, that falls on us. And then when we have a business on top of it. And then if you're someone who is yet to be a full-time entrepreneur, now you have an actual job and you're side hustling. So the time factor our egos really latch on to as, well, wait a second, though. This is true. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. You keep telling yourself, I don't have time. Your brain is just going to keep finding supporting evidence that you don't have time. It's going to keep calling in reasons why you don't have time. You keep saying that, it's going to keep becoming true. How about you do a little bit of a twist on it and say, I have the time to do the things that I prioritize in my life. Because I don't want you guys to do something like an affirmation that's saying, I have all the time in the world. I have mounds and mounds of free time, because your brain is going to go, girl, you're full of shit. And if your ego talks like that in that whatever accent I just did, I need to meet you immediately. So you have to tell your brain something that it goes, okay, facts. Like, I buy into that, because that will make it shut up. So I have plenty of time to do the things I prioritize. Here's why that's true. The things you do prioritize, whether it's Netflix, scrolling on Instagram for God knows how long, cooking dinner, researching a recipe, exercise, whatever it is, you somehow manage to find the time for things that are really, really important to you, that you really, really enjoy, right? And if for some reason that isn't you at all, well, just watch how the males in your life do it, because they're wired differently and they're wired selfish by nature, and they put their pleasure before their priorities much faster than most women do. So learn from a man and watch how they do it and take stock to be more I don't mean it in a bad way. Be more selfish. Prioritize your pleasure. Prioritize the things that you truly want in your life. And it is true. Whatever we prioritize, we do have time for. So your brain's going, I don't really like hearing that, but yeah, I guess, you know what? That is true. Okay. That time thing's going to come up a lot. So again, I do want you to track this. And I'd rather you type it in your notes app on your phone when it comes up. Unless you carry a little journal with you all the time. I actually do. I get them at the, at Michael's Crafts. They're they're less than 99 cents. They're these tiny, super tiny, 3x3, or 4x3 little notebooks. And they're in those 99-cent bins. I'm sure Target has them too. But I keep one in my purse so that I can jot it down. But sometimes I have it in my notes app in my phone. It's if there's a new one, right? I don't have time to do the sales page. Oh my God. I don't have time to record this podcast, and I have to record this podcast. Wait a second. Is that true? And my ego's like, well, yeah, you don't have time. You have so much other shit to do. You have this to do. You have taxes to do. You have that, you have all these other things to do. And it's like, well, no, I have the time. I have plenty of time to do what I prioritize. And then my brain's like, oh, yeah, that is kind of true. You did sit in the gym parking lot for an extra half an hour scrolling and looking at random bulldog accounts. So probably in that half an hour, you could have probably recorded a podcast episode. Thank you. The third main section, so to speak, of lies is the comparison lie. This one causes the most shame. I call it going after a shame hit. It's really weird that we would do this, but especially people who were bullied in any form of an abusive or toxic, narcissistic type relationship, shame is a very familiar emotion. Self-doubt, feeling insecure, bad about ourselves, less than. These can become very familiar feelings. And even though we don't like those feelings, they're familiar. So we end up telling ourselves lies to recreate these familiar feelings. And it's crazy. It's why would we do this to ourselves? It's some of the things we do are habitual, and because they're familiar, it's just become so familiar. And so I have to be really careful about going for shame hits, because that was the main emotion that I felt growing up and that I recreated over and over and over again in my adult life, which, of course, that's why I had no self-worth. And so I have to be careful, and I have a lot of practices in place for me to catch myself before I even start going for a shame hit, or at least catch myself in the middle of it. Once in a while I slip and I don't realize it till after, but usually I'm catching myself now. And most of the time, these shame hits we go for, and most people are going for them subconsciously. I've just done so much heavy recovery work, inner child work, which is why, of course, I can coach all of you through it, that I'm very aware of it, but I was never aware of it before. It was all subconscious, but it comes through in the comparison lies. This is, in my opinion, this is a major dream killer, even more so than the need to have lies and the time lies. Those are two, but the need to have lies definitely affect self-esteem, self-worth, because it brings up a less than feeling, right? Because when you're saying I need to have, what you're saying is I'm lacking in something. And in order for me to have this very something I dream and desire, I don't have it because I'm lacking, right? That's a lacking mentality. That's not good. That's not an abundance mentality. The I don't have time is also lacking, but that's more of a sabotaging behavior. There is a glorification of being busy and not having time that I hear a lot of women latch on to, right? It's I'm so exhausted. I'm so busy. So I don't like, you know how there's like a lot of those, I love like shirts and tank tops, hats, and all those things that have sayings on them. Like I have a problem. There's probably like 100 of those tank tops in my repertoire. But I will not accept, even when people send them for free, I'm gracious about it, but I donate them to the battered women's shelter because I will not keep in my home things like better get moving, better get busy, busy bee, hustle hard, all that crap. No. That doesn't work for me because that's glorifying being busy. It glorifies being exhausted. And I used to wear that as a badge of honor. My main line, which I still do say sometimes today, but I'm aware of it now. I'm conscious of it now. I'm exhausted. I'm so busy. Oh my God, I can't stay. I have way too much to do. And I still have not fully broken myself of that in full disclosure. So just be patient with yourself on this stuff because some of these lies that we've told ourselves, we've said it and thought it so many times over and over again over so many years. It's just going to take longer to break that, but you eventually will. And any improvement on it is obviously amazing. So this comparison lie is dangerous. So it can show up in social media. Even if social media didn't exist, it shows up in real life. Even before any internet, it showed up by looking at magazines. I mean, I remember in high school, although there was AOL, but you didn't really hang out online. Like you could be in AIM, but I mean, who remembers Instant Messenger? Like, I don't even know what was happening in there. Thank God. I can't believe I'm not dead just from who knows who I was talking to. Anyway, but I would get that Victoria's Secret catalog and I would totally go into this comparison lie. Like in order to be sexy and beautiful and highly desired, in this world, I would have to look like that. I'd have to be able to buy those things and look like that in those things. So it's not just social media. I hear a lot of people blaming social media for stuff. If social media didn't exist, it'd be coming from billboards, it'd be coming from magazines, it'd be coming from in-person stuff. It would happen from back in like the 50s and 60s from like beauty pageants, right? So it's the comparison lie is, no one's gonna hire me to help them with XYZ when they could hire this person who has, thousands of more followers and they're more engaging and they have better content and prettier pictures. Who would hire me when they can hire them? Who would hire me when that person has been in Forbes and they've won an award? Why would they hire me when they could hire them? That's the most common one I hear around entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. Even, people who are in network marketing industry, they'll go, why would someone sign up with me when they could sign up with someone who's already like a higher top rank in the company? Why would they, partner up with me? And this is the comparison lie. And again, it comes back to lack. What you're saying is that particular person has something that you don't. And whatever it is that they have that you don't, you're making an assumption that's what the world wants and they don't want what you have. I mean, it is totally a form of self-abuse. And we all fall into the comparison lie. I mean, I'm trying to think of one I've told myself recently. I don't go into any comparison unless I'm in already a low vibe state, meaning I'm just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm PMSing. I've had a couple like disappointing things happen at work or in my life where I'm run down or something like that. That's when usually I end up in it. And I'm trying to think of one I thought of recently. Mine more so at this stage of where I'm at, like in life and in my business. Like, I always say to you guys, different levels, different devils. Doesn't matter how successful you are, how long you've been doing it. I've been an entrepreneur 12 years. I have millions in the bank, but there's always another level that you want to go to when you're someone who desires to help the most people possible, make the most impact possible, and make a crap ton of cash doing it. You're always going to have different levels where if we're not growing and evolving, I mean, what the hell is the point, right? So my ego wants to come up with this crazy belief that in order for me to be like wildly successful with ProjectME, I have to like be on all the platforms 1,000%, do all the things, have multiple courses. I mean, have more. I need more in order for me to be more and grow my brand more. And that's a full comparison thing. Because now what I'm saying to myself is these people who have more of it, they're more worthy of it than me. And why would more people come to me when they can go to someone who has more offerings, so to speak? It's a fucking lie. Who fucking cares? And most of those people are burned out to fuck. I know a lot of them. They're burned out. They're exhausted. And guess what? Just because someone's offering a lot of things, that doesn't mean they're making a lot of money at these things. Oftentimes when you offer too much, you don't make as much because your message is diluted and you can really only like truly promote heavily one thing at a time, so to speak, maybe two. So if you are, having all these different things, your ideal client's like, well, which one are you pointing me to? Where do I go? There's all these different things. And it's like the yogurt section at the grocery store. When there's so many options and you don't know which one to get, a lot of people just abandon their cart or they don't put anything in their cart. It's just too much. So there's an example of a lie, right? That I've told myself, but I take myself through that through my own exercise. Here's the thing. We seek supporting evidence for what we believe, even when we know those beliefs are bullshit. Because I know a lot of you do a great deal of personal development work. Many of you are in therapy. Many of you do a lot of intuitive work, spiritual work, godly work. You have more of an expansive and awareness mind, most of the people who listen to me, because like attracts like. And so you're aware of some of your bullshit behaviors, right? You might not like them. You might kind of ignore them, but you're aware of them. So even if we're aware of them, if we're not challenging them and we're not challenging them with fact and we're not doing it diligently and repeatedly, our brains are going to continue to seek supporting evidence for what we believe. The good news here is that we can tweak. You know how people say like, you change your beliefs, you change your life. Like, I agree, but it's not as simple as just like flipping a switch. Let's morph our beliefs. Let's tweak them. So just notice, like, pick a couple beliefs or pick one belief you have in each of these three categories I discussed today and challenge your mind to tweaking those beliefs and almost look at it like an experiment. Tweak it and see what happens. You will start seeking evidence and evidence will come to you. So seeking and attracting supporting evidence to your newly tweaked beliefs. So I used to have a belief that in order to make great money and be successful, you have to work your ass to the ground. The catch with doing, to have great money and success is you've got to bust your ass all the time. Your whole life is work, blah, blah, blah. That's how I was raised. I was told it. I was modeled it, all the things. And I really believed it to be true. Well, of course, since I believed it to be true, I saw evidence it was true and I attracted evidence in that was true. And I had people in my life where it was true, where they would say it and model it. So it was true. But then, thank God, I was forced, in a sense, and that's a whole nother episode, to challenge that belief. And I did an experiment that was the experiments with ProjectME. I refused to create ProjectME under that same belief of to be successful, you have to, damn near kill yourself working so hard. I promised myself, I promised God, I promised the universe, I promised all of you who I didn't even know existed. This was before I started it, that I was going to build ProjectME totally differently than my first company. And I was going to build it while keeping, of course, my integrity, but my self-worth and my self-love and self-honoring behaviors all had to come first. I wasn't going to push, force, hustle, grind my way through it. Even if it took me a little longer than other people, I didn't care. And my main reason for doing it, one, I didn't have any interest in doing it in any other way, because the other way almost killed me, literally. But also, I wanted to have proof and evidence for all of you and all the women I've yet to, meet or who have been attracted into my life, for them to see that it is possible to be wildly successful by going at a self-nurturing pace in business and by still honoring yourself and enjoying life and not grinding and hustling and exhausting yourself. That's really what excites me about it. And I still have to catch myself sometimes. But the reality is that in a very short period of time, this brand is incredibly successful. And I have not been burning the candle at both ends. I would say it'd be fair that most days it's like 5-hour days. So I would not consider that burning the candle at both ends. Would you? But I had to do that for myself. So the catch is I had to tweak my own beliefs and refine until my beliefs truly changed. And then I saw evidence all around me that it can be not easy, but it can be done with ease. It can be done with grace. It can be done with fun. And I have called that in, and it actually works. I would not be doing this episode and teaching this to you guys if I did not 100% know this works, not just with myself, but with me personally coaching other people through it and seeing the transformations that they've had. So I'm really excited to hear from you guys on how this went for you. Want to remind you, you hop over to iTunes and leave me a 5-star sincere written review of the show. I would love nothing more than to treat you to a coffee drink of your choice or celery juice if you need a poo, whatever it is you need. We want to make sure, you're cleaned out and all. All you need to do is when you go to iTunes, again, you don't have to be an Apple user in order to leave an iTunes review. So when you go and do that, it's ideal if you take a screenshot of it, but make sure you include your Instagram or your Facebook handle or your first and last name inside the actual review. And then come over to Instagram, DM me and let me know, hey, I just left you a review. This is my name. You can include the screenshot. If you forget, your name is sufficient. And then I will treat you to, again, a coffee drink, celery juice, whatever it is of your choice, just for me to say thank you so much. I mean, if you were doing it in person, I would absolutely treat you to that in person. So it's sincere from me, and I know it's sincere from you since you're a happy listener and you love the show, and it's showing my gratitude for you taking 90 seconds to go do that and show gratitude in supporting this amazing free resource I've created for you guys, because it's free for all of you, but it ain't free for me. This show costs quite a bit of money to produce. So I love you guys so much. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.